Now that you are in a deep trance, we are going to give you a trigger, or reinforce it if you already have it. The trigger phrase is "I am a Cinderace." If you use this trigger phrase, or if someone that you trust says the trigger phrase "You are a Cinderace," you will undergo the transformation that you are about to experience again at whatever speed you want. Additionally, you will instantly turn back into a human if you use the reset phrase "I am not a Cinderace," or if someone that you trust says the reset phrase "You are not a Cinderace." Now the transformation will begin. First, feel yourself shrinking so that you are only 4 feet and 7 inches tall. Of course, your height won't actually change, but everything that is taller than you will seem really tall, while everything that is shorter than you or about the same size as you will seem really small, creating the illusion of having shrunk. Next, feel a tingling sensation all over your body as a thick coat of soft, short, and fluffy fur starts to grow, consuming any hair that you have as it does so. The fur on your arms, hands, neck, and head is white, as well as most of the fur on your torso. However, there is a V-shaped section of fur on the front of your torso that is dark blue and as wide as the front of your torso is. The thickness of the V is equal to 1/5 the width of your torso, and it is 1/3 as tall as your torso is. The bottom of the V is horizontally aligned with the center of your torso and located 1/3 of the way down your torso. The top sides of it seamlessly connect to 2 other sections of dark blue fur that are on your shoulders by having both sides continue a bit past the V and stopping when they reach the edge between your shoulders and arms. The points where they connect are the top left and top right of your torso, and the 2 other sections of dark blue fur are very thin and go all the way around the spots where your shoulders and arms connect to each other. On the bottom half of them the fur is 1 inch long, but on the top half of them they form the shape of 3 triangles that point straight up. They are each 1/3 as wide as your shoulders are and are right next to each other. The 2 outer ones are half as tall as your upper arms are, while the middle one is as tall as your upper arms are. Additionally, there is a band of dark blue fur that goes around and is vertically centered on your waist that is 2 inches tall. Also, the part of it that is on the front of your torso curves down a little bit so that it is 1 inch lower than it otherwise would be when it passes the front of the center of your torso. As it gets close to this point, it curves back upwards a bit so that it forms a continuous curve. From below that band of dark blue fur to the top of your knees your fur is red, and from below your knees to the end of the first 2/3 of your feet it is dark blue again, the fur on the last third of your feet being red. The fur on your knees is twice as long as most of your fur is and is yellow, as well as shaped like the band of dark blue fur that goes around your waist. However, the bands of yellow fur are as tall as your knees are, and they curve downwards near the middle of all 4 sides instead of just near the middle of the front. Additionally, the fur directly above them is red while the fur directly below them is dark blue. Also, there are 2 cone-shaped sections of yellow fur on each leg that are horizontally centered on the middle of the back of the yellow bands of fur. The top ones are 1/3 as wide as your knees are tall and are 3 inches tall, as well as vertically centered 1/6 of the way down the bands of yellow fur. The bottom ones are vertically centered halfway between the bottom of the other cones and halfway up the yellow bands of fur, and are half as wide and tall as the other ones are. All of the cones of yellow fur point straight back, as well as upwards at a 45-degree angle. Furthermore, there is a yellow section of fur on the right side of your right upper leg and the left side of your left upper leg. They are horizontally and vertically centered on the sides of your upper legs that they are on, as well as half as tall as them and 1/3 as wide as they are. The top third is shaped like a square with rounded edges that has been rotated 45 degrees. The bottom 2/3 of them are shaped like an oval. Also, the bottom of the rotated square and the top of the oval overlap slightly. After all of that, feel your fingers and toes merge and change shape so that you have 3 fingers on each hand and 3 toes on each foot. Each of your fingers and toes are 1/3 as wide as the hand or foot that they are on and form a continuous curve over the last third of them that seamlessly goes from one finger or toe to the next, and that is 180 degrees, leaving you with a wonderful set of paws. Also, at its longest the middle finger on your hand paws will be as long as your old middle fingers were, while at their longest your outer fingers will be as long as your smallest finger was. Likewise, at their longest your middle toes will be as long as your middle toes used to be, and at their longest your outer toes will be as long as your smallest toe was. Of course, your hands will not actually have turned into three-fingered paws, and you will still use your hands like you normally do, but you will be completely unaware of this and only be able to perceive your hands as three-fingered paws. Now, feel a slight pulling sensation at the base of your spine as a tail starts to grow. The main part of it is spherical and twice as long as your torso is. On this sphere there are two cone-shaped sections, the first of which is 1/3 as wide as your tail is and twice as tall as your torso is long. It is vertically centered 1/6 of the way down the back of your tail and is horizontally aligned with the center of the back of it. It points straight back, as well as upwards slightly. Also, there is another smaller cone-shaped section on your tail that is angled and shaped just like the first one is, as well as horizontally aligned with the center of the back of the spherical part of your tail. The only differences are that it is half as wide and tall as the other one is and that it is vertically centered halfway between the bottom of the other section and halfway up your tail. Your tail is made entirely of fur, so it won't cause you any discomfort when you sit on it. However, this also means that you won't be able to control it. Next, feel the fur on the back of your head start to grow longer as it forms the shape of a cone that is as wide as your head is as well as tall as your head is long. This cone of extra long fur is centered on and covers the entirety of the back of your head and starts out pointing straight back, but quickly curves upwards so that the point of it is located 2 inches above the top of your head and so that it points straight up. Now, feel a weak pulling sensation in 3 oval-shaped areas on the underside of each of your foot paws. One of them is horizontally centered with your foot paws and is 1/4 as tall as the section of them that is covered in blue fur, as well as 1/3 as wide as that section. It is vertically centered 1/4 of the way up the underside of the section of blue fur on your feet. The other 2 are 1/4 as wide as the section of blue fur on your feet, and are 1/8 as tall as those sections and are vertically centered 1/4 of the way down the underside of the section of blue fur on your feet. Also, they are horizontally centered 1/4 of the way to the left of the right side of your feet and 1/4 of the way to the right of the left side of your feet. In those areas, the fur falls out to reveal that the skin there has swelled slightly as it became a yellow material that is durable and slightly squishy. After that, feel your ears move to the top of your head as they change their shape to that of cones that have been cut in half. As this happens, they grow so that they are as tall as your torso is and half as wide as your head is, as well as rotate so that they point halfway between straight back and straight up. Most of the fur on your ears is just like the white fur that is on your arms. However, there is a hollowed-out section on the front of each of them that is covered in yellow fur. It is shaped like a 3D oval that has been cut in half and that is half as tall as your ears are and 1/3 as wide as them. They are horizontally centered on the front of your ears and are vertically centered just above 1/4 of the way up them. You will not be able to control which way your ears face, but they are somewhat flexible and with the exception of close to their bases they can be bent back 90 degrees if enough force is applied to them. In fact, the very tops of them might even pleasantly sway a bit if there is a gentle breeze. Your hearing will mostly be the same as it was before the transformation began. However, because of how big your ears are, your hearing will be much stronger and you will find that sounds that didn't bother you before might now be overwhelming because of how much louder they sound to you if you aren't used to having a form with hearing superior to that of a human. If that is the case, it won't take you long to get used to your improved hearing and to be able to deal with sounds that you previously could deal with again. Of course, your hearing won't actually become stronger, but your expectations about how loud sounds are will be greatly reduced to make it seem like they are, and your tolerance for loud noises will be reduced accordingly, but you will be completely unaware of the fact that this is happening. Next, the fur on the tip of your nose turns red and grows in the shape of a raindrop that is as wide and tall as your new ears, and that is angled halfway between straight up and straight back. Also, extra fur grows on the end of your nose so that there is enough fur to make the raindrop-shaped section of red fur solid and just as dense as the rest of your coat of fur is. Somehow, this large mass of red fur does not block any of your vision, and you will never question why this is or be able to understand any logic when it is used in a way that directly suggests that it should block part of your vision. As this happens, the fur on the rest of your nose turns red. Now, feel 2 sections of fur on both sides of your face start to grow in the shape of cones that are as tall as your head is and half as wide as your head is tall. They are horizontally aligned with the center of the sides of your head that they are on, and are vertically centered 1/4 and 3/4 of the way up the sides of your head that they are on. Horizontally speaking, they are angled halfway between straight back and the side of your head that they are on. Vertically speaking, they are rotated upwards 45 degrees. Next, feel fur growing from the middle top of the front of your nose. There, yellow fur grows from a single point in 3 sections. 2 of them are shaped like cones that are half an inch wide. One of them points straight right and upwards 45 degrees while the other one points straight left and upwards 45 degrees. They are both so long that the points of them go just past the edges of your face. The third one points straight up and is shaped like a vertical 3D oval that is half an inch wide and that is as tall as your nose is. The bottom of the oval connects to the same point on your nose that the other 2 sections do. Also, there is another 3D oval on top of it that is aligned in the same way. However, it is 1/3 as tall as the other oval and the bottom of it connects to the top of the oval. Also, it is a bit more down than it needs to be to make contact, causing the 2 ovals to overlap a little bit. Just like the raindrop-shaped mass of red fur, this also doesn't obstruct your vision. Furthermore, just like with that mass of red fur, this yellow fur does not block any of your vision, and you will never question why this is or be able to understand any logic when it is used in a way that directly suggests that it should block part of your vision. Now, feel skin covered in that familiar white fur start to cover the top half of your eyes. After that, your eyes stretch downwards so that they are twice as tall as they had been. Then, your eyes and the furry skin that covers them rotate down 30 degrees. Next, your pupils and irises stretch upwards and downwards equally so that they are twice as tall as they had been. Somehow, even after all of these changes, your vision is just as good as it was before you started to transform. Then, the fur around the bottom left quarter of your left eye and the fur around the bottom right quarter of your right eye turns dark blue. At the bottom of your eyes the blue fur looks like no more than a point, but it gradually gets wider the closer it gets to the other end of it until it is half an inch wide. From there, they each form a triangle-shaped section of dark blue fur that extends out of the already existing dark blue fur. The triangles point straight in the direction of the side of your head that they are on, and the top of their bases are the tops of the dark blue sections of fur that go around your eyes. Relative to their sideways bases, they are half an inch wide and so tall that their points almost but not quite reach the curve that goes between the front and sides of your head. Next, your irises become the same shade of red that much of your fur is. As this happens, your mind changes so that you really enjoy soccer, and so that you will like it even more if you already enjoy it, but you will never become even slightly addicted to it. Just watching soccer will be a highly immersive experience, so much so that when you are just watching it through a screen it will feel as if you are there in person, and if you are there in person it will feel almost as if you are playing the game yourself. Oh, and the feelings that you will get from actually playing soccer. Absolutely nothing will compare to it. The sense of comradeship that you will feel with your teammates will be wonderful, and the rush of playing will be so much more intense than ever before. Running to catch up to an opponent with the ball, kicking the ball into the opponent's goal, or even just running across the field with the ball, it will all be absolutely wonderful. It doesn't matter if you are playing offense, defense, midfield, goalie, or even just sitting on the sidelines waiting to be swapped in, you will have an absolutely amazing time. Although you will always put your all into it and do your best, you won't even care if you win or lose, you'll just be thrilled and happy to have been able to play. And if people are cheering you on, things will become even more intense. It will be as if your whole life has been leading up to that moment, and you will give it everything you've got, and if you fail it will be no big deal, but if you succeed it will feel absolutely amazing. Finally, the effects of this hypnosis file will become inactive if they are a risk to your physical body or your well-being, if they are a risk to your social or professional life, if there is an emergency that they would prevent you from dealing with to the best of your abilities, or if they are a risk to your mental health. Also, any effect of this hypnosis file that was an issue will become active again once it no longer will be one. Additionally, you will never find this hypnosis file or the effects of it even slightly addictive. Now you have undergone this transformation, and you are a Cinderace. As I'm sure that you can guess, I'm a huge fan of soccer, and I can now say with complete certainty that you are one too. This session is almost over, so goodbye, and have fun.